Great. Okay, hi everyone, welcome to Colorful Conversation, and today we have an inspiring woman in the room, and it's very funny because this is a different setup. We're in a in a cinema museum, and she's going to tell us all about a festival that's going on currently as we film. Hello Jennifer.
Hello everyone.
You look lovely.
Thank you.
So you are the founder and the creator of the Woman of the Lens Film Digital Broadcast Festival.
I am.
Such a mouthful name. I like that. What inspires you to create a festival in the UK specifically for women of colour in the film industry?
I decided to create the festival for black women and women of colour from a British perspective
Exactly.
because I believe that we've been overlooked. I believe that this perception that there aren't any black women who write or direct or produce or any of the other creative things in theatre, in film or whatever medium is an anomaly, because I trip over those kind of women every day.
Oh, you've been told it's an anomaly?
Well, there is that perception in the media, particularly when you're looking at institutions that are looking to do their sort of diversity things. There's this idea that, well, we've done the promotion of it, but either not enough people came through or no one came through. If that is the case, then I would suggest that it's about using the same methods of reaching out, which clearly aren't working.
So when you had the idea before you give birth to it, now we're here and it's here. Who do you reach out to? How do you think about, okay, I need to find these filmmakers, these are communities, because that's always the excuse that we don't have people.
Absolutely. You have to be prepared to get your hands dirty, basically. And what I mean by that is that you have to provide a mechanism which reaches out to people who are already doing the work, the people who are on the ground and who are already in contact with women who are making films or men who are making films. It doesn't matter. That's what you have to do. You can't use the same methods of reaching out and getting the same response and being satisfied with that response if you're not meeting your goals. And then when you don't reach your goals, you blame the people that you're trying to reach because it's their fault they couldn't find you.
Yeah.
That's just not good enough.
It's not like you're not doing the job you should be doing. You're not looking at the right places.
Absolutely. Social media is a fantastic. It's a fantastic medium. I'm not going to fault it at all. Of course, there are darker sides of social media, but those sides are no different than what they would be if in the flesh.
Yeah.
So with social media, you Google is your friend. You can
Google people.
Absolutely, or various searches. And now I know that it's difficult doing this. It's difficult because whether we like it or not, many things are skewed towards African Americans. So if you're looking for Black British, it doesn't come up with much. Sometimes you have to look for African American, and then you get a plethora of things. Initially with African Americans, and a little way down, you get British. I'm going to change that.
I saw that. So that was also one of the questions I wanted to ask you about the when we wrote about the launch, because we were here for the launch, and we wrote about the film Girl 6, and I realized that it's a film from an American perspective, and this festival is for women who are black women in the British context, and also to see how ourselves as British women. But you say we need to go to the Americans every time, and that's what you want to change. How do you feel like young black women in the UK doing film? How do you feel like you could reach them to get to that level, like collectively?
Okay, again, going back to social media, there are a lot of women who are doing things on social media, like British women. So, for example, I had an incredible panel yesterday for what is broadcast today as one of our themes. And we had Carol Russell from Fresh Voices. We had Akua Jamfi from the British Blacklist. We had Daniel Scott Horton,
Oh,
who did
Daniel Dash.
that absolutely. These women are incredible powerhouses who are doing things that I would say, and I would speak for myself, earlier on in my career, I was denied the opportunity. There's only so many times you can hit that brick wall, and then what often happens is many of us leave the industry and we go and get into other professions where we can at least pay the bills. But what also happens is you just go and do it yourself.
Yeah, that's also my next question, is that as artists, especially women of color and black women, we always have to do other jobs to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started out in journalism, so I trained as a journalist, and I was fortunate enough a little while ago to get a role with a financial news media organisation called Bloomberg. So I had a good start. But due to various other reasons, I left and went into teaching. And I taught for a long time in this particular creative field and left that. And then when it back, found myself being able to come back into the industry, not only as a journalist and writer, but also as a PR consultant specialising in education.
I wanted to say that. Like, I remember there's a PR consultant.
Sure. And that's primarily because I keep meeting these brick walls. I have suffered from overt and covert racism, which has denied me opportunity, and that has a detrimental effect. You know, I don't move on in my career, I don't earn the kind of salary that I should, and that has effects in other areas of my life. And that's the fact. I don't care whether or not anyone believes me. I'm not going to prove to anyone that it actually happened. I'm done and dusted with all of it.
We don't have to prove to anybody
not
anything.
Anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm tired.
It is tiring.
I'm
It
tired.
is exhausting.
It is.
When you say it every time, because so when we created the platform, we said this is a platform for black women and women of color. People are like, but why?
Exactly.
And you're like, but look around you. If you see like how many journalists are black?
Indeed. And so going back to what you were saying about reaching out to young people, that one of the things that I want the festival to do is to provide opportunity. I can't do it all, so I would expect the platforms to do what they believe they should be doing, but it's a platform to provide opportunity for particularly younger people who want to get into the industry, so that they can experience some of the things that are behind the camera. Yeah. So it's not just all about presenting. Okay? It's not all just about
acting. There's a lot of work to it.
There's a lot of stuff behind the camera that you can equally get a good career from. Yeah. So that's also about what the festival is about. We are looking at challenging stereotypes in front of the camera, behind the camera. I want to see black women working.
Yeah, I feel like the way for us to challenge stereotype in front of the camera is starting from behind. Yeah. Because if you have people behind the camera who don't get the nuances, who don't understand that a representation of a black woman being the same thing over and over is tiring, exhausting, and it's just creating one single story for a black woman, then it starts from behind. If we don't change that, we can never change what we see in front of camera.
I think we see some of that with our American cousins.
Of course.
We see that with Ava DuVernay, and we see that with Issa Rae.
Absolutely.
You know, they are employing black women, and black women are their first port of call, not as an aside, not as a second best.
Best friend.
Yeah, absolutely. First port of call. And so I think that where we can, here in the UK, we are replicating that. I think there are a number of economic hurdles that we are having to meet that the African Americans don't, and that is another hindrance. But that's clearly, absolutely, I agree with you. That's one of the places where you need to start, behind the camera, and therefore you actually are in a position of power on decision making, so that you can decide where the story goes.
Exactly, and this is beautiful, and I really like when I got the press release and I got told about the festival. I was so excited because I'm a film lover, and I work with filmmakers. We have collectives of filmmakers who are friends, and I'm just like, how do we stop the narrative also of black British people have to go across the pond to make it as in the film industry?
That's a tough one, and it's a conversation that has been going on for decades.
Yeah.
And you go to so many diversity conferences and seminars, and how we need to increase and improve representation. One of the things we do not need is we don't need any more training courses.
Exactly. Let's do the work. Let's stop talking about it.
We just need the opportunity to do the work. And the other thing that is detrimental for us is that we don't get the opportunity to not get things right. I don't want to use the word fail, because that's a bit loaded still, but there's nothing wrong with getting things wrong, because you then know how to get things right.
And there is nothing wrong with failure, because if you don't fail, how would you know what to
Precisely.
fix?
And I think that certainly from my personal perspective, it's a hurdle that I have had to jump to, that it's okay to get things wrong. Yeah, have contingency, know what you need to do for next time, and it will be all right the next time, because your intent, my intent, is clear.
What is your goal for this festival?
Oh, wow. As a creative person, my head is awash with ideas, big and small. And the way in which I console myself in not doing everything now is that I have to understand that I'm here for the long haul. This festival is here for the long haul. So I don't have to do everything in 2017. It's 2018, 2019, 2020 and beyond.
2030.
And so all the big goals that I've got, just take my time and make them happen, and bring on board people who I can bring on board to help, but also they too get an opportunity to work and develop their own careers.
That's beautiful. And also the fact that when you say bring other people, you intentionally want to bring black women and women of color, and that's something that I personally feel like it's important if we are talking about a specific group of people, to give them that platform to also tell their story.
I'm not going to make any bones about it. My festival and what I'm about is first and foremost black women, women of colour. That is it. However, you will see in the programme, men have submitted films, white people have submitted films, and that's okay for me. The reason why is because I am very much keen to work with people who are looking to challenge and change the stereotypes, who are looking to challenge and change the way of working that is not working. It's not working. Yeah? So some of the things we discovered in the broadcast panel is that we already know so many people are not watching normal TV. Why? Because normal TV is churning out the same things over and over again, and it's just so unnecessary, and it is condescending to the audience who have so much choice online.
Like, I have a laptop.
Absolutely. You don't have to watch TV the way in which we used to when our parents were watching TV. So that is an incredible reason why I want to work with people who want to change those stereotypes in front of and behind the camera. So that explains why we've got men who have submitted films, because they've either crewed up well, or the way in which they've treated their primary female characters has been good. That woman has agency, she has autonomy, we follow her narrative, we're following her, what drives her and the story, and that's what I'm interested in.
And that also brings about collectively that society is diverse. We live in a diverse society, and we do want to tell diverse stories. It's about giving people agency, not about, like, you can't, a white man can tell a black woman's story if he knows how to give her agency.
Absolutely, but I think one of the problems with that is that a white mind has been telling the black story forever.
Yeah.
And I don't mind you telling my story, but excuse me.
I have a mouth.
I have a mouth, I have a mind, I have a lived experience. I can tell that story too. And when you keep telling my story, you are damaging to me.
Yeah.
You're dangerous to
You're
me.
giving me a specific identity that you want me to
Absolutely.
live up
and
to.
I'm no longer having that.
Thank you so much for the festival. I'm excited to see how it unfolds in the next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's beautiful, and I just want to ask one last question, because you're also in education.
Yeah.
Do you think the way to kind of change the narrative also have to be grassroots, and also have to be institutionalized in the educational system?
I think one of the things that we have in society is that we think that there's going to be one pill that's going to fix everything.
Sure.
There's going to be this one panacea that's going to, or a magic wand, and we're in a Harry Potter movie, and boom, and pooh, everything falls into place. It's not like that. It's going to be a series of people doing their own bit. It's important that, again, alluding to what we were saying before, you have your own skill set. You need to be able to have your opportunity to manifest your skill set, as do I. Your skill set is different to mine. That's okay, because one of the skills of a leader is understanding where people who are with that person, where those skills are, and how to use all of those skills to reach the goal that you want to reach. That is what we need to do. So in terms of education, one of the things that I saw when I was teaching is, particularly with media and film, there is a disconnect still, even now, with industry and education. They're not talking enough to be able to help those youngsters in education find a route into the industry. And what that means is many of them who are exceptionally talented, again, they leave. And they go to other industries, and that's another channel that you may lose to reach that grassroots. And also, unfortunately, those people who have been in the industry for a long time, they often rubbish media and film courses. I'm still trying to figure out why that is, but when you teach through those subjects, you can teach so much. Aside from the practical skills of filmmaking or broadcast or radio, there's also the kind of theoretical things around society, those kinds of things that force you to think. So yes, it's about education, it's about institution, it's about individuals, it's about all different things and people. You do your bit. Because the festival and I cannot do it all. We cannot support everyone, but I'll do my damnedest to do my bit.
Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and for your energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.